Back at the start of 2010, when we first launched Corel Cares in our partnership with Room to Read, we imagined the day when we would have a chance to visit some of the projects that Corel employees would be helping to fund. That day came in February 2012 when John Reese, James Phillips, and I traveled to Laos for our first Corel Cares site visit. As we flew over the mountaintops of Udomse province in northern Laos, we had no idea what to expect, but what we discovered over 3 days was the generosity, warmth, and acceptance of the Lao people. Isolation and economic deprivation have plagued Laos throughout its history. It remains one of the poorest and least developed countries in the world, with more than 3/4 of Lao people living on less than $2 a day. In rural areas, electricity and drinkable water are all but non-existent, and the country's infrastructure is extremely fragile. Primary and secondary school are free for boys and girls, but the pressure to do farm work and contribute to the family's income have left female literacy rates lagging far behind their male counterparts. When we arrived in Udomse province, one of our first stops was to visit one of the girls' education programs that Corel's employees had helped to fund, the Banbor Lower Secondary School, where we were greeted with a massive feast and dancing and played games with the children, and saw firsthand how the girls' education program is helping young girls to develop the confidence and the leadership skills to stay in school longer. We also had the chance to meet with the local publishing teams in Laos and to meet the illustrator and the author of one of the first books funded by Corel employees, a book called The Bicycle. Local language publishing is incredibly important and a key component of Room to Read's mission to cultivate a love of reading among children. And what's so important is that the books are culturally relevant and that they reflect the realities of the children's lives. So in the case of the book that Corel's employees helped to fund, The Bicycle, we learned that bicycles are an incredibly important means of transportation for many of these children. So it's important that the books not only are culturally relevant and interesting for the children, but also that they have practical information that can help the children in their day-to-day lives. Visiting the reading rooms that Corel's employees have helped to establish was without a doubt one of the most inspiring and memorable moments of our trip. We traveled for several hours up pretty treacherous mountain roads through remote villages and into isolated communities where many of the people there had never seen foreign faces before. What was interesting as well is that the traditional classrooms in Laos are open to the elements. They're sparsely furnished with basic wooden stools and tables, and there's really nothing in the space that inspires creativity or imagination. By comparison, the reading rooms are bright, cheerful spaces with colorful straw mats on the floors, paper decorations on the ceiling, posters, and brightly painted bookshelves filled with books that the local publishing teams, Room to Read, and Corel's employees have helped to provide. And as we stood there up in the mountains on that last day, that sense of what Corel's employees had been able to achieve, bring the start of this change to these communities who have so little, and yet they are so eager to grow and to build their lives. The ability to open that first reading room on behalf of Corel's employees and to spend time with these kids and to see the difference that Room to Read's work is making and the difference that Corel's employees are helping to make was a real honor and privilege for all of us.